if Barb, we're done with your presentation, can we have other people also turn on their videos and if they have any questions to ask those questions? So feel free if anybody else wants to jump on the call and to ask any specific questions. This is the time to do it. I don't know if still Anthony is on the line. Anthony was very interested in this meeting, so he can help other organizations like DTE and LTU. So that would be also nice. So they're asking, what is the cost of the training?
Yes, the retail cost of this training is $14.95, and as a member of PMIGL, there is a savings to you of $200, and I'll chat in the code. The code is PMP 200. And that will give you that discount. So it'll actually be $12.95. Now, a little bit about that $12.95 and where it goes. So some of it goes to directly to PMI for your student kit. And you'll have access to a student kit with enhanced slide decks. As Orlando mentioned, we've enhanced the content to give you more hands-on examples and exercises. So we've got that. And it also provides you access to the exam simulator, which is one of the most valuable tools you can have because it is aligned exactly to the types of questions you can expect on exam day. It also includes an assessment of your experience in your work experience. PMI is known to audit applications for the PMP. We've had, I don't want to jinx us, but we've had no issues with that because we'll take a look at your work experience and perform what we call a pre-audit and give you some advice about, I know that you work you're a rocket scientist or, you're doing this, but you're using a lot of industry language. And what PMI wants to see is a lot of project management language. So we'll guide you there. We also do a readiness assessment. So there's so much more than the 35 hours that you get in the classroom. That's all included.
Sounds
Okay.
good. It says, will the cost include the exam fee or no?
Great question. Orlando, it sounds like you had an answer for that.
Yes, no, the
Okay.
answer to that is no. PMI directly handles the registration fee. That has been the case in the past, and it continues to be the case right now. So the answer to that will be no.
And
Oh,
what we still as peak will help them and guide them through the process, of course.
absolutely. And another
Absolutely.
thing, we do recommend that you join PMI if you're going to take this exam, and that's at pmi.org. The cost to join PMI is $140 per year. And usually to become a member of your local chapter, it's a little bit more. Just you can check the box to say, yes, I also want to be a member of my local chapter. And because once you're a member of PMI, you get access to a lot of resources at no additional charge. They're incorporated into your membership. And
So
the
there's a
pass
question about
rate.
the pass rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That was it.
on that,
Mhm.
I want to give out the disclaimer first.
Yeah.
PMI does not like training organizations to be publishing passing rates. But what I can tell you is that we're very close to a 3-digit passing rate, awfully close.
Yeah.
So that should give you an idea of where we are.
And something else I think we are allowed to say is just in the past, I don't know, Orlando, 7 weeks, we had 7 people pass. It was just a boom, boom, boom. And
Yes.
it was really a flurry. And that tends to happen when we have a cohort go through together.
Yeah.
They tend to say, oh, my exam date is now. And then they talk. And so, yes, it's very good.
So one of my experiences has been my recent certification with Lead Green Associate, and I know that a lot of people want to get that, but they don't go through that whole class and kind of training and exam simulation and stuff. So having a study group like what we do in Peak and everybody is cohorting together actually encourages people to take the exam or sign up for the exam because they encourage each other, saying, "Oh, I signed up and I'm taking it such and such date," and they come and give you some kind of lessons learned of how they passed it and what they did for it. So I really encourage, attending cohorts like this because you have other classmates, I would say, that are encouraging you to take those exams as soon as you finish the training and pass the exam. So that's another thing. We have a
Yeah,
few more questions about the
great.
exam simulator.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
they just access that without going through the whole, training?
Well,
Um, you can, however, it doesn't meet the 35-hour classroom requirement
mhm,
that PMI has set. And so there is this requirement of 35 hours, and the exam simulator doesn't count toward that. If you've already taken a course and you're just trying to make sure that you're ready, that might be a different story. But if you took that class anytime prior to 2021, you need training.
yeah.
That would be my advice.
And
So,
also to add to that a little bit, Barb,
Yeah.
I would say that we we can provide, we can, I don't want to use the word guarantee, but we can, we're going to, if you follow the guidelines of the entire approach, it's a very holistic approach that we have, right? So that's how we can, that's how you can be part of that success rate that we have. If you follow the entire guideline for the entire preparation process. So we don't like to slice it and dice it. It's recommended, especially if you haven't taken a prep class in 2021, to take the entire class and get access to all the resources. You're going to need that. It's a very challenging exam, so
Yeah.
the recommendation would be not to slice it and dice it like that.
Barb, can I ask you to stop sharing your screen so people
Yes.
can see all of us together when
Oh,
we're talking?
absolutely.
Because it was
How
like
is it
only
now?
Zoom.
Did that
Now it's
work?
better. Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
perfect.
Thank
Actually,
you.
I'm going to, I was afraid to navigate while I was sharing. And
So,
for the next question, I actually
mm,
will
mm,
do a little research to
mm,
find a PMP salary survey.
mm,
PMI, there was a question in the chat that looked so
Yeah.
good. Like, what can I expect as far as pay
Well,
goes?
I do
mm,
remember that
Yeah.
it is in average, right? This is
Yes.
just an average. It's not a. It's 20% more. So PMI has done a research on salaries, and they have determined that people that have their PMP certification are in average, throughout the states, about 20% more income than people without the certification. So they
And
have a
or
lot of resources, and
yeah, and
yeah.
Orlando, I would add to that I think the opportunities are much more if you've got the PMP than if you don't have the certification.
Yeah.
So if you're applying for a job and there's 10 or 20 other people, and a PMP is something that they is a preference that
Yes.
employer, then yeah, your chances of getting
And,
that
and to your point, Ron, I've had the chance to talk to recruiters out there, HR recruiters, and they're of the opinion that before, 5, 7 years ago, it was a nice to have, a very nice to have, but today it's a must have.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it is a
So
deciding factor.
another question. Actually, one thing from my experience, because I'm from the construction industry, and a lot of people maybe don't recognize PMP as a certification in the construction industry. Maybe your current company doesn't understand or doesn't require it, but just understanding the PMP language and how to look at project actually is going to increase your performance and your effectiveness. So it's going to open a lot of doors, even if you don't see the effect right away, but your next job or your next position or your next role, you're going to shine because you have all that information and that knowledge. So another question was, do we offer disciplined agile? And I think we mentioned that, I think,
The answer is
because
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yes, okay. So other questions that I might have
I see
missed?
one there that can you speak a bit about PDU
Yes,
requirements and
yes,
how do
okay.
you earn PDUs?
Mhm.
From I'll say from the chapter point of view, we're always offering PDUs, obviously through our dinner sessions, the symposiums, the breakfast club, session that we're offering. So there's plenty of opportunities in there. You're going to also earn PDUs through your own work experience and other things such as if you're volunteering for things. You can actually I've noticed with the Peak site they offer some videos and things like that
Webinars,
also count
yes.
towards
Yes.
PDUs. So there's going to be opportunities to
That's actually one thing that I always tell my friends, because they always are concerned about these extra PDUs that they have to get through the year and extra costs that they have to pay for it. I tell them I don't even notice how I get those, because PMI just applies those for me when I join some program, or if I'm listed in a lot of these events like the webinars and so forth. When you register, they pass your name to PMI to say that you were participating in that event, and you just get, I mean, I finished like all my, I don't know how many you have to take, like 65 or something. I've already done with it, and I got like another 2 years to go. But what I'm saying is that don't be hesitant about those things, like the cost of those, or the attending those, because there are so many interesting events that you just want to join and learn more about the different issues within our industry and discipline, that you're just going to get those PDUs without even knowing that. Did I miss anything, Barb, from the questions? I think there was another question. After how long do you have to start all over again with the new prep class and PM work hours audit?
Yes. So, as far as the classroom, there isn't an expiration on the class. If you once you take the class, you're good as long as you took that class on the current version of the exam. You'll be all right. So there is not an expiration there. The work experience goes back 8 years. There's an 8-year look back. And we just recommend that you start with the most recent project management experience first and work your way backward. In the unlikely event that you would be audited, then they will ask you for someone to verify that you did the work, and it's just a lot easier if it's recent work to find somebody and contact them to verify the work.
And what I like to add is that if you go through older versions of maybe PMP prep classes that are available online, or things that weren't updated after January 1st, they usually don't cover all the material that you need to know for the exam. Like we said, the exam is not going to be on PMBOK only. It's going to be from 10 different resources, and going through all those 10 would definitely take more than 35 hours. That's why we recommend going through an ATP program where these slides, I don't know if you want to go through the idea about the number of the slides and how it is passed, but what Peak has done is, in addition to the ATP slides, they have explanations that is going to help you understand those topics. Can you elaborate more on that, Barb?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. I'll give you one example of like the critical path. Understanding what a schedule network diagram is like. A PMI slide might have one diagram with one example that doesn't have any words with it. It's just a picture of a network diagram. And with just a picture, it's not intuitive. So what we've done is we'll take that concept and expand it into an entire story about how a schedule works from beginning to end, and how you can look at dependencies and sequencing between activities in a schedule. And by the end, it makes sense because it went along with an actual story and something relevant. And the slides that PMI has prepared as the basic template for training, it's around Orlando, is it in the high 400s, something like that? And our overall
Yes.
slide deck, okay, and
It's
ours
actually
is
500 in the
500
500.
slides, and we've got 1,200 as part of the overall packet. Now you might think, well, you mean I have to work more with the peak slides? No, it means that it's going to make more sense, because where they might say, you should know what these 4 motivational theories are that employees that motivate your team, and they'll just have 4 bullet points, and these are the names of the theories. You would have to go out and research those. And instead, we bring it all into our content. So each one of those would have its own slide and its own story. That's why the slide deck is so expanded beyond what the basics are that PMI has developed.
Great explanation. Now, one good question in the chat, and I think we missed it, is that can you explain a little bit more about the schedule of the classes and when is the next class starting and how people can plan if they can't maybe catch this cohort? How are those schedules are set?
Sure. And is it all right if I share my screen again very
Sure,
quickly?
sure.
Okay, I'll
Mhm,
just share. This is from the Peak website, and this
mhm.
is the latest. And actually, it's funny that it says Carlos and Orlando here, but Harry's going to be in both of these classes. These are team training classes starting on Monday and Tuesday. I'll be there too at the beginning, and also popping in to say hi. And so we often do that. We will have each of us will train maybe an element that's our favorite. For me, I love to teach Agile. I really like earned value management. And so sometimes we'll do that. We'll just kind of mix it up a little bit and have different trainers come in and work with you. But Harry's going to have a part in all 3 of the classes that are currently on our calendar. So you would just go to the website and register. That's where you would put in the coupon code. And then immediately, the minute you register, we begin. And by that, I mean, you'll get a welcome from us that will already contain some resources that you can start looking into. You can start your application. You can watch an application information video. Just the whole relationship with Peak begins right then. So that's what's coming up. And the question about disciplined Agile, if you'd like, I can share that schedule. We did have a disciplined Agile class that began this morning, and if you were extremely interested and wanted to just get into that class, it's possible that we could catch you up with the recording and have you be prepared for next Saturday with session 2. But we also have a disciplined Agile class that begins on, I believe it's June 12th. I can stop sharing and navigate to that. And that's Priscilla, our colleague Priscilla, who teaches DA. And so I'll go ahead and get that queued up here and
So Anthony has a
share it.
great idea for our next session. We're going to do another
Disciplined Agile.
event. I think he wants us to do a session, a free session, which is, this is again a free session. So
Yeah, of course.
that's what we're here to give back to the community, and part of our volunteer work as PMPs to give back to our profession. So definitely, that's a great idea, Anthony. We're going to do that. If you want to pop up and share your video, I mean, we'd love to see you, Anthony. I mean, I know you have few things to say about the great events and programs that we have for other organizations. I know DTE is a big sponsor of our chapter, and I know that that's what Anthony is referring here. So great. Sounds very
Wonderful.
good. I think we answered all the questions. Is there anything else that I missed? Okay, the requirements for PDU, we mentioned that, obtaining the PMP certification.
And I can share that disciplined agile screen
Okay.
quickly and just in case you were interested. So Priscilla, our colleague, is a disciplined agile senior scrum master, and she teaches the DA class. I mentioned today's class just began. I went in there and said hello to our new cohort and met them. They're so excited. And then we'll begin again on June 12th. But it isn't too late to get into this first cohort if that was something that worked better with your schedule. So I'm so excited that we had the chance to come in and say hello to your group, and we would love to come back again if there's a particular topic that you're interested in learning more about, whether it's Agile or something else specific to the PMP.
Yeah.
It would be our pleasure.
I'd love to do that actually. I know Vic from DTE had interest in that, so I'll set it up and then hopefully we'll let everybody know through LinkedIn if they'd like to join us. Carla is here. Carla, do you have specific questions or you'd like to make any comments before we go?
Just a question about the chat. Will it be available later to review for those of us who were tied up in another limb?
Yeah, we are recording it. It's on live right now on our YouTube channel, but unfortunately I didn't know that I have to insert it in the chat again one more time to say go live. I mean, it was showing on my screen that is live, but for some reason I had to click something to go on YouTube. But the YouTube live is a little bit maybe cut off in the beginning, but the question and answer is definitely there and you can go watch it now. But the recording, the full recording after we edit it, probably should be up on our website maybe in about a day or two. So I'll let you guys know.
And
Okay.
Harry, a couple questions just came in into
Sure.
the
Yes.
chat.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that
Yes.
okay?
You want to go through them? Okay.
Oh, sure. One question. If I already took a prep class and completed the audit, but my exam eligibility expired, what does it take to restore eligibility? PMI handles those requests on a case-by-case basis. So I would recommend contacting PMI, letting them know what the circumstances were, and they'll determine whether the window can be extended or not. I'd heard that they were being very accommodating last year because circumstances were so, a lot of people's plans were disrupted. So I would recommend contacting PMI. And then the other question is, are the trainings the same with all of the trainers? Just some are longer sessions. And yes, so we have a very standardized curriculum, and it's that formula for success, what we know works. And so whether you're taking a Saturday full day session or one of Harry's 2.5-hour weekday evening sessions, you're going to get the same curriculum and the same support from all of the peak trainers. And is there an advantage of taking the trainings longer versus shorter? These questions are great. I think, your schedule and what works best for you, of course, is going to be a deciding factor. I think the shorter sessions tend to be good because it's like you get little bits of information that you can digest, and then you can do a little bit of self-study in between, come back with fresh eyes and take on the next session. Orlando, I know that I teach a boot camp sometimes, and that boot camp is every day and it's a lot of hours, and Orlando's like, oh, those boot camps,
So
yeah,
from
if you
my
want to.
experience, actually, I took a PMP prep class in 2014, and I took the long version where I had to go and read the entire PMBOK and go through a lot of material just to understand and kind of unlearn the way that I used to do things and learn the PMI way. So I needed that extra time to really digest a lot of information, but I didn't take the exam at the time. So when I wanted to do the exam in 2016, I didn't go through that long version where I had to, I mean, it's the same material, the same topics covered, but in a boot camp type where it's like 4 weeks or 5 weeks and you're trying to get everything ready and kind of refresh in your mind for the exam, I think the shorter version sometimes works. So again, depends on your availability, your time to study. I mean, you gotta go through those slides and understand all of them, try to memorize new terminologies and concepts that you might not have been exposed to sometimes because it's PMI way of doing things. So both are going to be very good. It's just that it depends on your situation, and that's part of the consulting actual work that you guys do with students if they need more help on that. Orlando, did you have something you want to add?
Yes, on that, kind of piggyback into what you and Barb are mentioning, it really depends on, and this is my personal opinion, it really depends. It is a lot of content, right? So to be if you're being if this is the first time you're being exposed to the content, go and take the entire preparation boot camp in 1 week. That is that's risky. It is a lot. There's a lot of content, a lot to digest, and maybe if that's your style, if it works for you, yes, that's great. But if not, I would recommend a longer session. So, but it's free. Whatever fits your style is the best option. You're going to cover the same content. It's going to be delivered the same way, but what changes is the duration of the class. But you get the 35 hours regardless. So it's pretty much what works. You know yourself more more than we do. So whatever fits your style and your schedule, it's the best fit for you.
There's a follow-up question in the chat that is
Mhm.
asking about, will the sessions have refresher information or quizzes from previous sessions?
That's
I think that is a
a
great
great question,
question.
and
No,
I would like to add
there are
to
good
that.
questions coming in the
Yes,
chat. Keep
great
asking
question.
if you have. But
Absolutely.
I would agree. This goes back to what Orlando said. If you're already filling your entire day with nothing but boot camp, it can be tough to go do
Yeah.
more studying.
Yeah.
And so when you break it up, we actually do have activities, which I think that's what you're going to want to
E-
speak to.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
have one of the things of you have so many benefits of working with an ATP like Peak. You get content that is coming straight from PMI. So this is not something that we made up. We improved on the content. We added more content to make it better for you, but this is coming straight from the source. So this is official content created by PMI, then taken on steroids, how I call it, with our slides. So part of the official content has activities that will help you to reinforce the knowledge that you're getting. So applications of the definitions that we're covering, and at the end of each slide deck, you're also going to have additional activities that they call them mastery builders that will help you to even enhance more your knowledge of the content. And on top of that, your simulator. So there are going to be 3 ways that you have in order to see the application of the definitions that you're covering in class. So the answer will be yes.
Hey,
Several
Orlando,
pieces.
one thing I would also add, that I always liked when I was part of the sessions is that you've got different experiences from not only the instructors, but the other students taking the class. And so if you're struggling with a particular project management concept, there's always somebody who's got something that they can draw from their experience and share it with you. And then it becomes a little bit more clear to you. Or your, and different flavors, different organizations have different flavors of certain, tools and things like that. So, that's another thing that can be very helpful in understanding during those training sessions.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate the time that you allowed for this. I know we went beyond the half hour that we mentioned, but half hour was for the presentation. The other half was for any questions that we had. And I guess we're at the 1 hour point right now. So we're going to continue doing events like this in future. Like I said, the next one, hopefully we're going to be doing on the discipline Agile. And then hopefully in a month or two, we might do this again. And then if people have more questions, we'll answer those as well. And you can always reach out to Barb, Orlando, or Ron, or me, and we'll answer those questions as well on the website and stuff. Great.
Thank you very much,
very
everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice for joining. See you soon.
Thank you so much.